Hello, Narnach here. Welcome back to Path of Exile. We are playing in the Hardcore Breach League as a solo self-found Necromancer. We use a Beacon of Corruption to turn our minions into caustic clouds. Today we're gonna run a Zana mission. It's been a while. We just completed all tier 3 maps. Might as well intersperse that with a little Zana mission, which is probably gonna be a bit more dangerous. So let's see what we're gonna get. Enter map, slay rogue exiles within the time limit, and slaying monsters increases that limit. We're gonna get the Promenade, which I think is a tier 10 map. Normally, of course, it's gonna be a bit lower here today.
Even the greatest achievements will eventually
73.
be abandoned.
That's tier 6 equivalent, so this is a bit of a jump up from what we normally play. Many totems inhabited by skeletons, and there's 2 rogue exiles to slay. We get a nice increase in pack size. In 10 seconds the timer's gonna start. And then we have to kill to keep that timer up. We are currently level 82, bordering on 83. And murdering enemies. And yeah, there's no modifiers to the enemies themselves. This is a really merciful Zana mission. On the other hand, Promenade itself is fun to run as well. Dual bosses who can be a bit tricky. Of course, that is from a higher difficulty or higher level running. Curious to see how they're gonna hold up as a tier 6 equivalent. Okay, we're gonna level up after we defeat the 2 rogue exiles. I think that's gonna be for the wisest. Maybe we gotta get ourselves a little bit more energy shield and life. Certainly useful, but more useful versus the bosses rather than rogue exiles, because rogue exiles are not all that special anymore. Kill some statues here, get some precious seconds. And we did manage to double our starting time, roughly. Just zigging and zagging, trying to cover most of the map in a single playthrough. Promenade is one long snaking area. Oh, superior cast on crits. For this build, really not useful. But of course, all the gems we don't use with quality on them. At 40% quality, sell those together, then you get a gem cutter's prism, which is useful for us, because we use that on the gems that we do use. Oh, Ruler's Orb and an Ember Amulet. That's an anvil. Wow. It's the anvil. It's a it's a very nice one if you're a block-based build, which this one isn't. But as a for fun character, I do have a full block gladiator that I'm displaying with all the trigger skills and things like that. I'm hoping to actually find Lycos today. The new shield with the spider on it. Bit of like a web with a spider. Which gives you all the trigger gems a bunch of extra cold damage on triggering. Which of course is gonna be pretty cool. Just double checking that we did not miss anything of value. Nope, we didn't. We got a minute and a half, so in terms of time we're doing really good. I have had timed Zana missions that were less generous in terms of time. I think one of the very first ones that we run with this character was a timed one. That was rather interesting. But the anvil on a full block character, from a quick glance of it, no, it's life on block, mana on block, all good stuff. Hey, Magnus. Yeah, I don't want to get hit, but you're gonna die. Sorry, nothing personal. And that means timer is gone and we can spend another point. So life and energy shield. And then the next one is gonna get us 8% life and 10% energy shield, which makes it useful to actually refund the node over here to grab the stronger one. So our life is nearly 4,500 and our shield is almost 4,000. So roughly 8,500 effective life on this character. It's a very nice amount. Certainly nothing to sneeze at. So this one, 8% chance to block, reflects 240 to 300 physical damage on block, which is pretty cool. 3% maximum block chance, so from 75 it goes up to 80. 10% reduce movement speed, gain life and mana on block indeed. Extra armor and reduced attack and cast speed, but for a trigger build that's not an issue. And actually, if you're using very expensive attack skills, like for example a dominating blow or an infernal blow, then slower attacks are actually not that bad because it just helps you save mana. Because the DPS there is of course in other things than very quickly hitting your opponents. Oh, I have another character that's definitely going to be happy with that. Okay. Just trying to keep clearing the entire area before pushing forward. So now finding interesting rares or interesting unique items while playing solo self-found allows you to play certain builds, or it enhances certain builds. But rarely is it useful to design a build around a unique you don't have. Because unless you can reliably generate a certain unique by, for example, divination cards, then chances are you're not gonna find it. There is one of the challenges, but it's, for me, it's basically how I've always been playing. It's not until like a league or two ago that I started getting into trade for a bit. And of course on standards I traded quite a bit with my lacerator character. And mostly I think all the currency I possess on standard is invested in my lacerator. But for the longest of times, no, I would just play with whatever I found, and if I found interesting uniques, that would inspire me to start playing different builds. So yeah, it's definitely something that works for me. Now, of course, if you have a certain kind of build that you want to play in a new league where you don't have any items, then trading is going to be required. Let's see. We are approaching the end. No, we're not. Okay. Just quickly empty our pockets because this full bag of loot is kind of weighing me down a little bit. Just mentally weighing me down. Not really weighing me down. That would be interesting actually if the items you pick up actually make you slower, if they have a weight associated to them. Could be interesting. Suddenly your leap slammer can only just jump 2 tiles if you're too overburdened. Or you make more impact with a leap slam because you have more weight behind it. Shield bash or a shield charge. No, it's slower to get started because of the additional weight, but because there's more weight behind it, once you make impact with something, you hit harder. And conversely, of course, now if you're playing a shield charge marauder who is bigger and bulkier, you're gonna have more impact compared to, say, a witch who's a fair bit lighter, I would estimate. Would also make an interesting case for cloth armor versus metal armor, if weight were an impact. But of course that would completely alter the game if you would go towards a more realistic, but not quite a physics engine, not the way game engines have it, but or like a natural materials gravity, weight, things like that. Just a more realistic simulation. Does afford interesting things. No electricity getting better conducted by metal, so suddenly electricity damage or lightning damage would be really good against strongly armored characters. A distinction of blunt physical damage and slicing physical damage would also be interesting. No, things without blood couldn't bleed. There's a lot of interesting implications once you start going down that path. You would get a completely different game. But it would make it interesting. Then the current playstyle of one-trick ponies is gonna be really hard. And you would go more towards it's more the Diablo 2 style of character builds, I would say. Because Diablo 2, if you played it and still recall, on normal difficulty, you could just do whatever. There were no immunities or anything like that. With the exception of maybe certain ghosts that were physical immune. I think they just had resistances on normal difficulty. Then on nightmare difficulty you would get the resistances were enhanced. And I think there would maybe some monsters that were immune to the element that they were already strongly resistant to. So a ghost being physical immune or something like that. And then on hell difficulty, the third difficulty, I think monsters might have as many as 2 immunities. And the resists were boosted even further, so then if there were monsters with resistance auras or magic monsters that had certain affixes that gave them more resistances, then of course they could gain additional immunities. And I think it was possible for certain mobs to get all but 1 immunity. But yeah, I think you had physical damage, you had magic damage, pure magic damage, and then you had the same 3 elements that you have in Path of Exile. Fire, cold and lightning. But no, being immune to 4 out of 5 elemental types, that kind of forces you to always have multiple elemental attacks available. And I think that most builds they ended up doing 2 elemental damage types just to deal with that. But it's just basic immunities, because certain mobs were guaranteed to have certain immunities, and then the very rare ones with multiple immunities. If you couldn't deal with them, you would just park them, or you would use curses to pierce their resistances. Also 36 mobs remaining, so the bosses are here. Yeah, there. So a caster and a meleer. I think the caster has lightning thorns that it applies. There. And we dealt with them. We dealt with them really good. So this being a level 73 area, rares and uniques have level 75 items that they drop. Okay, so 21 mobs remaining. We did skip a bunch, and we're gonna get a breach to close things off. I approve. Also, this could get dangerous. So let's get a bunch of skeletons up and running. Let's get a couple of corpses down with some caustic clouds. Then we run in. Here we go. Let's hope this is not going to be the final one. Just gonna see if we can clear the edge here a little bit so we don't get anything in our back. Okay, something is causing bleeding. I'm not a big fan. Ew, terrifying. We just, pop up, kill you. Army of the Damned, make an appearance please. Oh, there's a lot of blood damage going on here. Hey. That was rather interesting and intense. Just the way you want a breach to be. Also, we are currently drowning in loot, so there's gonna be a little bit of ferrying loot back and forth here. So I'm gonna say goodbye here for this episode and just do some loot ferrying, and then afterwards I'm gonna chat with Zana. But there you have it, Promenade as a tier 6 equivalent with many totems and skeletons and rogue exiles on a timer. I'm gonna thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye bye.